Welcome to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. I am your writer-in-chief, Rosalind Jackson. I am a lover of words, and that love led me to a passion for writing. And what's the next best thing to writing? Talking about writing. So kick back and join me for mind-blowing chats about writing, covering everything from screenplays to novels to poetry, from nonfiction books to songwriting, and much more. What's up, y'all? I'm back. I know it's been a long while since you've heard from me, but I've just been out there trying to get my things in order, trying to get my company in order with my merchandise, and one of the merchandise items I'm going to be selling now are candles. So I'm getting all that stuff together in the background. So that's kind of why I've been MIA, along with my usual procrastination. But we working on that. Hence to therefore why I'm doing this podcast today. I wanted to talk to you guys today about a little bit of TV and film industry advice. I was scrolling on Facebook today, and I came across a post that was listed in one of my Facebook groups. I'm a part of a group called the Black Screenwriters. That's a group on Facebook, and it's administered by Craig T. Williams. He's a screenwriter and also a producer. So the topic of the post, it was posted by one of the members named Sherman Payne. Now, Sherman Payne is he's a working screenwriter and producer. He has written on Shameless on Showtime, and he has also written a movie called Charm City Kings on HBO. I got to check that out because it looks interesting. I looked it up based on this post because Craig mentioned him in his credits. And I was like, oh, I need to check that out. And he also, Sherman also is a podcaster, and the name of his podcast is The Diversity Hires. And that's basically about the ins and outs of the TV and film business. And I've listened to a few of those podcast episodes, and they give really great advice, on how to make it in the industry and, what to do as writers and things like that. So check them out. But the topic of the post was a very hot topic, sensitive topic. People kind of went nuts in there. There's like over probably by now over 200 responses, comments, and whatnot. Probably it's probably going to keep growing. So by the time you hear this, it'll probably be even more. But let's just say folks was in their feelings, okay? And basically what Sherman said was he wanted to let new writers know that if you are a new writer and you're someone who just finished a script and you're running around asking, how can you get that script to Netflix or HBO or somebody like that? His advice was basically, at that stage, you're not ready because you're a new writer and chances are you haven't built up the skill level to be able to approach a Netflix or an HBO. And, he was basically saying it takes patience and it takes respect for the craft, which that is very important. You have to respect the craft. It's kind of unprofessional to think as a new writer that you're going to just finish your first script and get it to Netflix or somebody without building your skill levels, without building your craft. A lot of time new writers think that screenwriting is easy, and it's not. You may you may have an idea and you may be able to put it down on paper quickly. The ideas may be flowing. And that's all amazing. Like anytime you can get ideas coming to you quickly and you can get them down on paper, get your story out of your head and onto the paper, that is amazing. That's step number one. Like if once you getting to that point is the hardest part. Once you do that, you're sailing, in good waters, so to say. But then after that comes the crafting of the story during your rewrites and whatnot. And as a new writer, chances are you don't have those skills to be able to get into a rewrite. And basically, what you have put down on the page is what we call a vomit draft. And anybody's vomit draft, I don't care if you are Shonda Rhimes or who else, Aaron Sorkin, they know they're not turning in their vomit draft to anybody, because they know as screenwriters themselves, even though they are professionals and they have many shows and movies out there, they know nobody is going to see their vomit draft, because that's just them getting the story out of their head, putting it on paper. They know they have to go back in and craft, shape that story and make it sing the way they want to during the rewrite. So basically, a bunch of people responded negatively to Sherman's post. They felt attacked. They felt like his post was very discouraging or negative or whatnot, and it really was not. I can see how a new writer would feel that way, because if you have if you finish your script and you've done this, you've tried to get it to a Netflix or whoever, and you didn't have any success, or nobody has given you any advice on what to do, I can see how Sherman's post would be taken as discouraging. But what it really was truth, a hard truth. You may not want to hear that you're not just going to walk your script into Netflix, but that's pretty much reality. So I chimed in with my comment and I said, yeah, basically what you guys saw, the ones who took offense to it was, oh, you're not ready, or it's going to take you years to get there. And that's not what his post was talking about. That's part of it. But basically, like I said, he was trying to let you know that you have to build your skill level as a new writer before you approach the big dogs. And so when I chimed in, I basically said, yeah, his post is true. It may not be written as pretty as you want it to be, but it's basically true. As a new writer, you're not going to go directly to Netflix with your project. You pretty much have to team up with a production company and develop that script with them. And you have to get through their door first, to see if it's even something that they're interested in. And if they are interested in it, which it could happen, even being a new writer, you may have a great idea. If that idea is great enough, you may get the attention of a production company, and they may want to go ahead and work with you to develop it to a level to where they can shop it to Netflix. And actually, let me go back a little bit. They're also going to have to package the project or the script, and that means they need to attach a well-known actor or a director to it, before Netflix may even say, yeah, we like this. So they want to have something that's kind of like a proof of concept. Well, not necessarily a proof of concept, but a built-in audience, because 9 times out of 10, if you have a well-known artist, a well-known actor, they bring an audience with them. Let's say if Denzel was attached to this project, Netflix 9 times out of 10 is gonna say, "Hell yeah, we want to do a movie with Denzel. You got him attached already? Yeah, bring it on over." So or a director, a hot director, they'll be the same way. Yeah, you got so and so directing this film. Okay, bring it on over here. Yeah. So then that's pretty much how it works. There's other things involved. Like I said, nothing is a straight path to anywhere in this business. It's different avenues that can get you to the same spot. Bottom line is, if you are a new screenwriter, what you need to do first is get some feedback on your script from other writers. Maybe join a writers group or something like that. And, people may say, well, it's other writers that are on the same level as I am. So how is that going to help me? They don't know any more than I do. That may be true, but when you're in a writers group and you are presenting your script to everybody else, everybody can give their different opinions, and in this group you should be reading pages out loud to each other. And when you read something out loud, that lets you hear what you have put on the page. It brings the words to life, and even somebody who is not a professional can hear when something is not working, say in the dialogue, or if maybe the tone of the scene is not working. Even untrained ears can pick up on something. They may not necessarily know what it is in particular. They may not be able to name that so-called technique or whatever, but their natural instincts to be able to identify story will kick in, and they'll feel what's not working. Another thing that you need to do is to get a professional set of eyes on it. And one way you can do that is to go to someone like myself, a script consultant, and have them do coverage for your script. You'll get notes on what is working and what is not working. Script consultants pretty much help guide you to get your script at a level where it needs to be. And that's going to involve rewriting. So be prepared to get some rewriting done. And also, rewriting is a skill in and of itself. When you have to rewrite something, you don't just go in and correct grammar mistakes and change a couple of lines of dialogue and here and there. Rewriting is very detailed. It's a skill level, like I said, in and of itself. You have to be able to know how to take a note or incorporate a note into your writing, into your rewrite. And that's saying if that note is a good note. Just because, a script consultant may give you a note on how to improve something, that's not written in stone. It could be a million ways to go about rewriting your script. But if a consultant is pointing out something, that means something there is wrong, more than likely. So there's no one way to fix it. Fixing it is a part of the creative process. A consultant may say, "Oh, I think you need to express this character's anger by having them throw a glass across the room instead of shouting, 'I'm angry right now,' because that's on the nose dialogue." And you don't want on the nose dialogue, so a consultant may say, "Oh yeah, have him throw that glass across the room to show that he's angry." When you get a note like that, It doesn't mean specifically you have to make that character throw a glass across the room in order to improve this scene. That's just they're just giving you an example of how to show that that character is angry, as opposed to the telling us the character is angry by saying I'm angry, in his dialogue. Okay? So, getting professional eyes on your script is very recommended. So, you may have to shell out a few dollars, but if you don't have it, save your pennies. You have to invest in yourself as a writer. That is part of respecting the craft, also. If you know you need to get your script to a certain level, that may be involved shelling out money to a consultant to help you get there. It's investing in your future, investing in your craft. So if you got to put aside a few dollars a week to be able to afford that, I would say do it. Another way to get feedback on your script is entering screenwriting contests. A lot of times they do have an entry fee. It's usually, relatively low, and some of them offer notes or coverage in addition to entering into the contest. So that's another route to go. But basically, you do need a set of professional eyes on there to let you know if you are on the right track or not. And you want to do all of this before you try to approach Netflix or a production company, because what you don't want to do is submit a script that's not ready and have someone at Netflix or a production company read it. And when they start reading that script, they will know immediately by, page one, basically page one. But they'll know within a couple of pages that this script is not up to par. And they'll stop reading. And then you'll get put on the quote unquote do not read list, which that's actually not a real list. But if you send the script in and it's not up to par, they can tell immediately that you are an amateur. The next time you send in a script, they will recognize your name, pretty much, and they'll remember that they read a couple of pages from you, and they knew that, oh, this person is not, ready. This person is not a good writer. And that's not to say you can't be ever, but they could tell you're not ready at this stage. So they'll recognize you. And when that happens, they're going to say, that other script wasn't good, so why would I read this one? I've experienced that before. People have sent in scripts to us at Edmonds Entertainment, and I'll read the script. If it's something that's not for us, or basically I can tell the person is an amateur, I'll let them know, this script is not for us. That we'll let them know that, and chances are they're going to resubmit another script at some point. They may say, oh, I have another script. They didn't like this one, but maybe they'll like this one. And they'll send it in again. And I'm looking at this person's name. I remember their other script was lacking in skill level. And this script that you sent to me maybe a week later or 2 weeks later chances are is not going to be any different as far as skill level as the first one you sent me. So I'm not going to read that script because it's not going to be at the level it needs to be, judging from the previous script. So you don't want to get put on the quote unquote do not read list. it's not a good place to be. And you kind of like, ruin your own chances. You get, put on the bench, so to say, and you lose your shot. That's not to say that maybe one day, once you get your skill level up, you can approach that company, that production company, or that network or studio, whatever. You can reapproach them, but when you reapproach, you better be at the level you need to be. So, and that's pretty much it. Just work on your craft. Read books. You wouldn't believe how many people who I've given the advice to read some books on screenplay writing after I've read their script and let them know that it needs some work. You'd be surprised how many of them became very defensive. I remember in particular one guy. And this was when we had the company Our Stories Films, and one of the first films, I think the first film was Who's Your Caddy? And the guy told me after I pretty much passed on his script, he said, well, I can't believe you're passing on my script when you guys put out the movie Who's Your Caddy? What kind of movie was that? And I was like, well, Who's Your Caddy was what it was. It was meant to be a funny, wacky, silly little film. It wasn't meant to be an Oscar-winning film. Anybody who's seen it knows that. But what you don't do is approach a production company, ask them to read your script, and then when they don't like it, you insult them and say that their projects are trash. That's what you don't do. Like, who does that? It's like, don't cancel yourself out, because you mad because they didn't want to do your film. Okay? Be professional. It's not personal when a company does not like your script. It's not personal. It's not about you. It's about the film. It's about the TV show. So when they say they don't like it or it's not for them, don't take that as them not liking you or thinking your writing is terrible. It's just not ready, or it's just not for them. Go back to the lab, do some rewriting, read some books on the subject if you need to, take a class, join a writer's group. There's so many things that you can do to elevate your skill level. Just stay ready and, build your craft. That's all I can say. So, happy writing.
Thanks for taking the time to tune in to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to check out my blog at www.wordygirlent.com. That's WordyGirlent.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at WordyGirlEnt, and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/WordyGirlEnt. And always remember, it all begins with a single word. So what are you waiting for? Go write.